pretend to care about hitting your goals and dreams. You can pretend to care about taking your business to the next level. You can pretend to care about 2013 being the best year of your life. You can pretend to want to get out of debt. You can pretend to want to change your financial situation around, but you cannot. You just can't. You can't pretend showing up. And just a little earlier, or during the introductions, I heard a young lady introduce herself who had actually given me a call a little earlier. Her name is Sherry. Sherry's a small business owner. She owns a commercial cleaning company, and Sherry, not only that, but she's very active. She's over 2 organizations that specifically work with small business owners and helps to give them the techniques, the strategies, and empower them and give them the type of atmosphere that they need. And on 2 separate occasions, she's asked me to come in and speak to her group. And because I know how committed Sherry is to her personal development and those around her, that in both instances, I was able to come in and talk and share with her group. And Sherry gave me a call earlier today, and we were having a conversation. And Sherry always is telling me over and over again, she said, Andy, I listen to your Show Up for Your Life motivational CD all the time. I listen to it all the time. And every time I listen to it, I get some great golden nuggets, some inspiration. And she said, but, the other day I listened to it for a couple of hours. And I said, a couple of hours? What do you mean a couple of hours? Yeah, I listened to it for a couple of hours. Well, what were you doing? And Sherry told me that she had to basically drive a total of about 7 hours in one day. And so I asked her, what happened? Where did you go? And here's what she told me. She had received an email from a friend who told her about an opportunity, her having a commercial cleaning business, an opportunity for her to bid on a new upcoming opportunity that was available that her company could possibly get the job. And unfortunately, when she got the email notification, the deadline was the following day, and she got the email notification late in the day. She had a busy day, and the whole day passed, and unfortunately, she couldn't get the bid off. She couldn't get her proposal off in the mail, overnight mail, to make sure that she met the deadline. And Sherry said the next morning, all she kept thinking about was the importance of showing up. And so even though she had a day that should have been planned with her regular activities, Sherry said that she decided that she was not going to let this opportunity pass. And Sherry said that she decided that she would personally get in her car and drive a total of 7 hours in a day in order to make sure that she could personally hand deliver her proposal. And so when she was saying that, I was wondering in my mind, I said, Sherry, I said, was there a guarantee that you were going to get this particular job if you drove it up? She said, no. I said, well, Sherry, are you pretty certain you're going to get it? No. A lot of people are able to bid on this job. Well, once you get up there, once you've got up there and you already spoke to them, are you going to get the job now? She said, no, I don't know. And so I said, you drove all the way up there just for the possibility? She said, yes, I had to show up. She said, if I didn't show up, I know one thing was for certain, that I would not get it. But she said, if I showed up, that at a minimum, at least I put myself in a position to be able to get it. And so I thought about what George Eliot said. I remember when he said that, George Bell, here's what he said. He said that people can pretend to care, but you can't pretend to show up. And see, when I look at Sherry, I realize that when she says, Andy, I want to grow my business going into 2013. Hey, Andy, I want to bring in new clients. I want to pick up larger cleaning jobs. I want to be able to erratically build my brand right now. That I understand that she is not pretending. Why? Because she's willing to show up. But here's what I know, that all of us at some point in our lives, that sometimes we can find ourselves in a place where we're simply pretending. That we realize that as we look at our goals, as we look at the things that we want to do, we know that we're pretending. Why? Because we're having more conversation than we are doing. We're pretending to want to lose that weight. We're pretending to want to hit our goals. We're pretending to want to take ourselves to the next level. We're pretending to want to get to that next position. We're pretending to want to turn our financial situation around. We're pretending to want to have a significant change in our lives. Now, how do you know we're pretending, Andy? How do I know? Because sometimes we fail to show up. Yeah. And I myself, I know what that's like. I remember in 2004, I was still working in corporate America, and I was frustrated. I had been working for this company, and on the outside, I had the appearance of success, but I knew that there was more for me. I knew that I wanted to become an entrepreneur, and so in my mind, I started off just thinking about the possibilities of going out on my own. In my mind, I thought about the possibilities of becoming an entrepreneur. And yet and still, every single time when I would have that thought in my mind, and when I would have those conversations with other people who are in similar situation as mine, who are working jobs or working careers, and they knew that they wanted to step out on faith and do something else, but most of them didn't take action, and I was doing the same thing. I was pretending to want to go out and pursue my goals and dreams. I was pretending to want to take control of my destiny. I was pretending to want to step out on faith and walk away from this job and from this thing that I had put in all this time to get my undergraduate degree, my master's degree, my CPA license. I was pretending to want to leave all that behind, to take my life to the next level. Yeah. I realized I was just pretending because I was thinking about it. But every time I thought about it, I talked to myself out of it. Yeah, I was having conversations, but I wasn't acting on it. And so I know what it's like to pretend. I know what it's like sometimes when you know that there's something that you've been wanting to do, that you've been meaning to do, that you know what it is that you need to do. You know that you need to be making more phone calls. You know that you need to be waking up early in the morning and going to work out. You know that you need to start paying attention and start budgeting and making sure that you get rid of those credit cards. You know that you need to be talking to as many people as possible about your multi-level marketing organization. You know that you need to be updating your resume and seeking different opportunities. You know what it is that you need to do. Yet and still, you find yourself pretending. Yeah, pretending that you really want to make this thing happen. And I think about, it was just over a year ago that I was home, and there was a gentleman that came and knocked on my front door. And when he knocked on the front door, he was trying to ask me and solicit some newspapers and see if I was interested in actually buying some magazines. And I found out he was part of a magazine crew. And incidentally, before this gentleman knocked on my front door, I had just watched a presentation that was talking about these different crews. Some of them are called magazine crews, in which they target individuals that are in tough, dire circumstances, and they find these young individuals, and they make promises to these people that they are going to allow them to travel across the United States, and that they're going to make great money. And what they do is they take these individuals, who most of which are high school dropouts, or most of which are individuals that aren't doing very much in life, and they take them to another state. And when they bring them to the other state, they put them up at a hotel. But unfortunately, it's not what they promised. When they get there, they find themselves waking up 8 o'clock in the morning, going to a sales meeting, getting out, literally being dropped off into neighborhoods where they have to knock on door to door, and being responsible for their own meals. And most of the time, they don't even make enough to pay for their own meals for the day, and they don't get picked back up until 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the evening. And a lot of them find themselves within these crews, and they just feel stuck, and they want to get out. But unfortunately, they don't have the resources to fly back home. Unfortunately, they can't think of what the other options are. So it just so happened I had just finished watching this presentation, and this thing is such an issue that these crews have actually been listed on the human trafficking website. It's considered a form of human trafficking here in the United States. And it's just by coincidence that this young man knocked on the door a week after I watched this, and I found out he was in a magazine crew. And because I wasn't sure if the magazine crew he was involved in was one of those that I had heard about, I invited him inside, and we sat down on the couch, and we had a conversation. I started sharing with him what I believe his situation was and what I believe what was transpiring on the day-to-day as he was working for this magazine crew. And at first, he denied it, and as he got more comfortable, he opened up, and he said, yes. He said, yes, it's exactly right. He says that I want to get out of this situation. He says, I wake up early in the morning, I go to a sales meeting, I knock all day, I'm responsible for my own meals. Most of the time, I don't even make enough money in order to eat and also buy deodorant, the things that I need. I don't have enough money to get on a bus to go back home. And yes, I want out. And so I said, hey, listen, if you want out, you're more than welcome to stay here. Yeah, you don't have to go back. You can stay right here. As a matter of fact, what's your story? And he said right now I've got some children. I've got 2 kids that I want to provide for, and I've gotten in some trouble in the past, and I joined this magazine crew. I'm not from Florida. I just thought maybe I can make some money and be able to go back and take care of my kids. I said, well, listen, you can stay here. And when you stay here, what you can do is you'll get a job. You can start working on cleaning up whatever issues you've had in the past, and even maybe possibly you can start going to school and send some money back for your kids, and we'll figure a way out. But I'm more than happy and more than willing to help you. And he said, hey, man, I'm so grateful. But here's what happened. Here's what happened. After him being there for a couple of weeks, I started to observe what it was that he was doing. And I started to replay what it is that he told me. See, he told me that he wanted to change his life. He told me that he was willing to work. He told me that he wanted to take things to the next level. He told me that he wanted to provide a better future for his children. But yet when I saw his actions, when I saw what he was doing on a daily basis, for that little period that he was with me, he was simply pretending. Yeah, he was pretending to want to change. He was pretending to want to create some significant change in his life. He was pretending to want to take his life to the next level. Why? Because he wasn't willing to show up. As I was watching him on a daily basis, he wasn't asking me questions and trying to get knowledge. He wasn't waking up early in the morning and going out and filling the application. A couple of times I found him in the house, said, hey, why didn't you go out? He says, well, I didn't have transportation. I said, well, why didn't you go to the bus stop that's right down the street? And all the entire mall and all these places that you can fill out applications, why didn't you go there? I didn't have bus money. Well, why didn't you ask me for bus money? He didn't ask. Why? Because he was pretending. He wasn't serious. And maybe his situation has changed right now, but for that period of time, he was not serious. He was just pretending. And I believe that all of us, no matter what level of success that we find ourselves in, that at some point in our lives that we can look at an area in our lives and understand that we are simply pretending at times, that we're pretending to want to lose the weight, that we're pretending to want to take our business to the next level, that we're pretending to want to hit that next level within our multi-level marketing business. We're pretending to want to officially get out of debt. We're pretending to want to finally write that book. We're pretending to want to make that transfer to this other thing. We're pretending to want to be in alignment with our goals and our dreams. And why are we pretending, Andy? We're pretending because we know in our hearts that we're not fully showing up, that we're not doing everything that's required, that we're not doing like Sherry and getting in the car and driving to the workshops and seminars to get the information, that we're not getting in the car and driving to make those calls and those appointments with those people that we know that we have to close the deal with, that we're not getting in the car and driving to go to the gym, that we're not getting in the car to ensure that we fully show up for our lives. No, we're simply pretending. And so here's what I ask you tonight. That as we get ready to go into 2013 and we're wrapping up 2012, that I want you to look at your life and be very honest with yourself and realize this, that this conversation I'm having with you is a conversation I'm having to have with myself. That all of us, no matter what level of success we're accomplishing, no matter what we've accomplished in the past, that there's always an area in our lives in which we know that we are simply pretending, that we're not doing all that we can do. What I love about the conversation with Sherry, what I loved about what she did, is the fact that she didn't meet the deadline. And I know that there's been situations in which I didn't meet a deadline. I had to mail something off. And it didn't occur to me that I could have got in my car. And maybe I would have had to drive 7 hours the entire time. Maybe I was going to have to get inconvenienced and get in the car. Maybe I was going to have to get on the airplane in order to make sure it was there the following day. But it didn't occur to me that I could do that. Instead, I just pretended and had a conversation about how disappointed I was. But what I love about what Sherry did, she wasn't pretending. No. She was willing to do whatever it takes. She was willing to get uncomfortable. She was willing to make it happen. You know, A.L. Williams said that all you can do is all you can do. And all you can do is enough. But make sure you do all that you can do. Yeah. When you're no longer pretending, you do all that you can do to make the things happen. When you're no longer pretending, you're willing to get uncomfortable. When you're no longer pretending, you don't stop until it happens. When you're no longer pretending, you don't worry about being uncomfortable. When you are no longer pretending, you're willing to put it all out on the line. When you're no longer pretending, you're willing to show up. And so what I say to you is right now, I want you to look at your life. And I want you to examine the areas in your life in which you know in your heart that maybe you're saying to yourself, I've been pretending. Yeah. I've been pretending. I've been pretending to want to write this book. I've been pretending to want to get out of debt. I've been pretending to want to take my life to the next level. I've been pretending to want to accomplish these goals and these dreams. I've been pretending to want to go back to school. I've been pretending to want to lose this weight. I've been pretending to want to get out of debt. I've been pretending, Andy. I just want you to be honest with yourself and identify that area in your life in which you know that you've been pretending. And once you've identified that area in your life, once you've said, hey, this is the area that I've been pretending, I want you to realize that it's not too late. That yes, we're wrapping up 2012 and we're going into 2013, but the key is to be honest with yourself. And once you know that you've been pretending, the next step is you've got to identify and determine what is it that you need to do. What is it that you're going to have to do in order to get out of debt? If you know you've got to start creating some budgets, get rid of some credit cards, and make some things happen, what is it that you're going to have to do to finally lose this weight? Are you going to have to make sure you get up and actually start using that gym membership that you have? What is it that you're going to have to do to finally hit that next position? Are you going to have to make sure you're having more home meetings, picking up the phone, telling more people about your opportunity, calling up more people, sharing your products, your services? What is it that you're going to have to do to finally accomplish your goals and dreams? You have to put the excuses to the side and start writing down your goals and studying your goals, and every single day acting upon a plan and doing something. What is it that you're going to have to do in order to stop pretending and start doing? In order to stop making excuses and start making it happen? In order to stop playing it safe and start putting it all on the line. And once you've identified what it is that you need to do, once you know exactly what it is that you have to do, and here's what I know, that sometimes we say it's hard, but it's hard to get started. It's hard to do it. And here's what I believe. I believe that oftentimes those decisions, that the thing that makes them hard is not because we don't know what to do. We do know what to do. We know we have to make those phone calls. We know that we have to start working on ourselves. We know that we have to get rid of those credit cards. We know that we have to start making more sales calls. We know that we have to start working on ourselves. We know that we have to get seriously serious. But what happens is it's not that we don't know what to do. It's just that we don't have the courage. We don't have the courage to do it. And so what I say is, after you've identified the places in your life in which you know that you're pretending, and once you've clearly outlined what it is that you need to do, what I say then is you've got to start showing up. You got to start showing up and making it happen. You've got to start showing up regardless of what the circumstances and start getting uncomfortable. You've got to show up the way that Sherry did and just get in your car and say, hey, I know this may be uncomfortable. I know I may have to drive for a couple of hours. I know this may not even turn into anything, but I'm still going to go. Why? Because I'm no longer pretending. I'm serious about making this thing happen. I'm serious about 2013 being my year. I'm serious about closing out 2012 strong. I'm serious about losing this weight. I'm serious about getting out of debt. I'm serious about hitting this next position in my company. I'm serious about pursuing my goals and dreams. I'm serious about showing up for my life. Yeah. George Bell, he said that you can pretend to care. You see, you can pretend to care, ladies and gentlemen. You can pretend to care about your goals and your dreams. You can pretend to care about your health. You can pretend to care about your relationships. But let me tell you something that you can't pretend. You can't pretend to show up. And so I invite you tonight to start fully showing up. This wouldn't be Andy Henriquez if I didn't end by telling you this. Remember to always show up for your life. Because if you don't, ladies and gentlemen, no one else will.